Okay. Beta. I'm gonna show y'all boys where I'm from, man. I'm from.
What it do, still with the cam, shine like a lamb. Big boss, all boss dog. Can't poke through the door here to talk this boxing. Before I get in my soliloquy, remember, tough times don't last. Good people do, don't have yourself. Caught him in the 5-9. Remember, you made a peak game, made the foes on one swing. All right, boss man is here. Let's talk about Turk again. So Turki Al-Sheikh was interviewed, and he kind of aired out Jaron Ennis. You know what I mean? He kind of went left on Buddy. I'm going to post a link in the description of the video. You can go listen to it. I tried to get the audio. I couldn't get it. So, but I'll post a link in the description if you haven't found it or heard it already. Turk was interviewed, and he basically said, look, Jaron Ennis don't want to fight Virgil Ortiz right now. He wants 2 tune-ups. And he said, I don't do those matches. He said, you might just want to work with Eddie Hearn and, you know, get your little tune-ups in and then come talk to me when you're ready to fight. For real. He said, because that's not what I do. I don't do little events. I only want the big, I only work the big fights. Right? And I was like, man, this dude airing out Jaron Ennis, bro. Like, so, but I gotta, for the first time, like, kind of agree with Turk when it comes down to it, because I told y'all, ever since Boots signed with Eddie Hearn, and right, I made a video on Clutch Factory, go check it out, talking about this. I've talked about this in depth on Clutch Factory. Me and Coach B done talked about it, right? And we highlighted how since Boots signed with Eddie Hearn, his career has spiraled out of control. Yeah, he's main eventing. He is. But he main eventing at home. That's lazy promoting. Right? He main eventing at home. Yeah, he's setting records at home. That's cool. I'm proud of him for that. But let's keep it 1,000. That's lazy promoting. Right? I know what y'all gonna say, oh, Boots was never promoting when he was fighting. He wasn't main eventing when he was over there on PPC. That's true. He wasn't. But he was fighting better fights. He looked better, pause. He was fighting better opponents, right? That made him look more like a boogeyman. Now, he got dudes in smaller weight classes wanting to fight him. Why? Not because of the money, because he looked like food. Because Eddie Hearn is doing this lazy promotional deal. He's making him look like he ducking smoke, right? I don't believe that Boots is ducking smoke. I think Boots is trying to trust in the people that he got on his promotion team. But the problem is that these dudes are making him look bad. We're just keeping it 1,000. When you got Turki Al-Sheikh talking about you want 2 tune-ups, and I did a video talking where Robert Garcia said the same thing. Y'all was in the comment section on Clutch Factory. Oh, you're lying. Boots will fight him any day. Robert Garcia's lying and blah, blah, blah. Now you got Turk coming out saying the same thing. So who's lying? When you got Robert Garcia, who said it, and then Turk, the dude who funds all the fights, he the dude that makes all these fights happen. Mr. Turkey comes, take that buddy. That boy right there, he coming out like, man, that boy don't want to, he talking about he wants some tune-ups. I don't do that. So now what? Who lined up? He said, I don't do that, bro. I don't do those. He might want to work with Eddie, get those 2 fights, and I guarantee you, he gonna put Boots back in Philly. That's lazy promoting. When you promote your fighter, you take him wherever. There's a market for him, right? Okay? So Boots, the type of fighter he is, he should be fighting in LA, Texas, you know, New York. He should be fighting all over the US, Vegas. Why set your sights only on Philly? Watch Boots' next fight. If he fight a tune-up, they're going to put that mug in Philly. I'm telling you. His last fight against Stanley Owens was in Jersey, which is not that far from Philly. It's lazy promoted. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just being real, bro. Boots is he's too talented of a fighter for you to do lazy promotion with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be... Boots should be the biggest fighter. He should be like Tank level by now. Or like ascending to that level. Right? Yeah, his pockets is is fat right now, right? Because they overpaying, right? They're overpaying. That's why Boots signed with him, because Boots looking at the money. He not looking at down the line. He's looking at the now. He ain't looking at down the line. One thing Errol Spence said when he was getting signed and he was coming out the amateurs, his dad told him, Errol Spence said Top Rank had, I forgot, it was Top Rank or somebody. Somebody had a deal. I want to say it was Top Rank. Had a deal for him. They was going to give him some money up front. Right? But PBC had a career plan for him. And his dad said, go with that career plan. That's why Errol Spence signed with PBC. Because they had a career plan as far as financially for him. He wasn't going to be making a lot of money up front. Right? But they had a plan to where he could be making money in his 30s and be retired and not be that type of fighter that's, 40, 50 years old, still trying to take fights just because they paying, right? He relying on this fight money. You know what I'm saying? That's why Errol Spence, man, he ain't fought in 2 years, finna be 3 years, right? He really don't need the money. If Errol Spence come back and fights because he want to fight, he love boxing. That's just what it boils down to. That's the only reason why that man will come back and fight, is if because of the fact that he just want to fight again. He got that itch. He don't really need to box again. He really don't. I think Errol Spence is financially set. You know what I'm saying? We just keep it at 1,000. So when you look at Boots took more of the upfront money from Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn lining his pockets. But look at his brand. His brand has taken a hit. Right? Yeah, Philly behind Boots. Right? Philly is very loyal to their teams and to their fighters. Right? We just keep it at 1,000. Texas, we support our fighters too, but we real with our fighters. Like, hey bro, like, you should have did this. Philly, they ride with their dudes no matter what, win, lose, or draw. And I respect that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's a bad business move for Boots. Because now, you look like you ducking smoke. You know what I'm saying? They saying you duck Teofimo. Then they saying now you Virgil Ortiz. Then they saying Brian Norman. Why is that? Because Eddie Hearn is a bad promoter. I didn't even understand that move. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to like a guy. Pause. But at the end of the day, you got to sign with people that's going to make business sense for your career. Eddie Hearn, because he giving you all this upfront money, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was beneficial for your career. Yeah, you're making more money and you look like you are doing this and you moving like this financially. But at the end of the day, do you really want to look like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know the term. I think it's like, do you want to look rich or be rich? Right? Like I told you. I just told you Errol Spence, financially set. Jermell Charlo, financially set. Jamal Charlo, financially set. You know what I'm saying? Do I need to keep going? Deontay Wilder, financially set. Deontay Wilder keep fighting because he can't let go of his losses. You know what I'm saying? So he trying to regain that image back. Right? But Wilder don't have to fight. Wilder don't have to fight. Come on. Wilder don't have to fight. You know what I'm saying? He definitely don't have to get in the ring and fight no more. He fighting because, hey, I'm a competitor. I still want to fight. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. I don't have an issue with that. You know? But a lot of PBC fighters, they're set for financial success. Yes, you're going to have to fight killers. You're going to have to fight dogs to basically get back to that, to get that money. right? But you're set on a financial plan. You heard even Adrian Broner say, look, man, Al Heyman, you know, and that's because AB had mismanaged his money. He was like, man, there's a point in time I'll make some money. Al Heyman would pay me a certain amount of money from a fight, you know, so I wouldn't blow through the money. He'll just pay me a certain amount, you know, so I won't blow through the money. I'm telling you, bro. Now, me personally, do I think Al Heyman would have been better for Jambu Ennis? Yes. I think Al Heyman knows how to market a fighter like Jambu Ennis, right? Jambu Ennis would have gotten the standing on this fight earlier. He would have got the Brian Norman fight. All those unifications that he wanted, he would have got them if he would have signed with PBC. I'm telling you that right now. He would have got all of them fights. That's me personally. That's what I think, right? I'm not sitting here saying I'm right. I think that, you know, in my opinion, I think he would have got all them fights fighting those said fighters. You know what I'm saying? Being with PBC, Al Heyman, right? But when you with Eddie Hearn, an unproven promoter, right, whose success only is in the UK, I mean, what more can you say? He only know how to market UK fighters. You feel me? So I'm just being real with y'all, bro. Like we just talking. Boots, man, is a hell of a fighter. Very talented guy. His brand shouldn't be in this type of predicament. You know? And we just keeping it real, bro. You know, he a hell of a fighter. I think Boots will be a Hall of Fame fighter one day. But he gotta see that these fights that he wants for his career, his brand, it's only gonna happen if he get the right promoter. Boots could be a star in boxing. You know what I'm saying? With the talent that he got, the skill set that he got, he could be a star. You know what I'm saying? He just got to make the right move. He don't make the right move, I'm telling you, he won't be a star. Yeah, he gonna get money until, you know, he take a loss. And then they done with you. Right? That's just what it is. Also, the type of fights he's fighting. How are these fights that he's fighting preparing him? My bad, y'all. How the fights that he's fighting preparing him for it's hot. Preparing him for, you know, mega fights. Right? When you look at, you know, Danny Garcia, his career, the type of fights he was fighting at 40 or 47, prepared him for mega fights against Errol, against Keith Thurman, against Sean Porter. You see what I'm saying? You look at Keith Thurman, you know, he fighting Porter, Danny Garcia, you know, set him up for a Pacquiao fight. Now, granted, he lost that fight, but still, that set him up for that moment. You know what I'm saying? Errol, you know, the Ugas, the Danny Garcia, the Sean Porter, you know, all those fights, those fights set him up for his mega fight against Terrence Crawford, in which, you know, there are other factors that factored in to his, you know, other people believe factored into why he performed how he performed, but that set him up for that big payday, for that big moment. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure Spence still making money off that fight. So all I'm saying at the end of the day, to be truthful, bro, is Boots got to align he got to get away from Eddie Hearn, bro. When you got Turki Al-Sheikh, when you got a financial advisor just being blunt, being like, man, he don't want to fight nobody. He running from smoke. Basically, that's what he's saying. He like, man, this man running from smoke, bro. That's basically what he's saying. And he like, yeah, you work with Eddie Hearn, and then when you ready for that real work, come talk to me. It's like, whoa. You know, now granted, I was laughing when he said it. He was like, he wants tune-up, and, you know, I don't do that. I started laughing. He said, he wants tune-up, I don't do that. I don't do that. I said, go work with Eddie And then talk to me when you want real fight. I said, whoa. So I think Jambu Ennis, man, got to make the right career decisions. That's what it boils down to. I think Jambu Ennis is a hell of a fighter. I'm going to keep saying it. I think he's a very talented fighter. I think he has the potential to take over boxing. I'm not going to lie to you. He got to align himself with the right people. He's a talented guy with the wrong people. That's what it boils down to. You know what I'm saying? Talented guy with the wrong people. So we shall see how this thing goes. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let's go.